very, very comprehensive kind of career building up to where you are right now. And most realtors, 90% of realtors fail within the first year. So that means that you had to have not just a strong mindset as a realtor, then you went into the investment side of the business that most realtors don't even want to get into. What really kind of drove you to be moving in that direction?
Yeah, so my background before real estate, I worked in a nightclub, like nightlife industry, and it's like been in real estate since 2017. I started off as a realtor. 2019, I got a mentor, kind of learned what a CRM was, learned what direct to seller marketing was, how to close. So then later that year, I left. I was like, I think I'm ready to go on my own. And then Ryan found out and was like, hey, come work for me. Kept turning him down. He's like, hey, just come meet with me. I'm like, all right, I'll meet with you. He's like, just write down what you want to make this next year. And I was like, or how much you want to spend on advertising. I wrote on a piece of paper, slid it over to him. He's like, hey, I'm going to outspend you by 3 times. Like, just work for me. He's like, if you don't like it, you can leave.
Okay.
6 years later, I'm still here. So yeah, I've done everything from, I helped out with TC at one point. I did sales. Did really well in Dispo, and then took over the CO role in 2023 and kind of been here ever since. Yes. If you can't stay focused, get in a routine. To me, routine's a big thing for me. Even now, it's like, I'm the COO. I'm still usually the first person here just because my mindset's like, all right, 8:15, I'm in the office. I have a coffee. I read my emails from the day before. I look at inventory every morning. I look at contacts and the new leads that came in and make sure the cities are right. So I just have a routine. Routine and mindset are big to me because like you just stick to it. And the minute you get out of whack is then stuff just gets off the rails.
Hey guys, so listen, I got a very special guest today. Now, behind every leader, you got a strong network. And I've got the privilege of knowing an individual that has been able to help Ryan Pineda scale to a different level. But what I love about this individual that is a level of humility, humbleness. I saw a lot of traits in him of myself because we love to do deals. And then I like to talk about numbers and making sense. So as soon as I met him, I knew that this is my type of guy. So I want to introduce you to Monty today. Monty, tell the guys who you are, what you do, and how things work.
Yeah, so been in real estate since 2017. I started off as a realtor and then kind of did some wholesaling. I kind of got introduced to wholesaling in 2017 after being a realtor. And basically, I think I brought it to WealthCon a few years ago, and I was like, I was fighting over, these $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 commissions, and I did my first wholesale, and I made 10 grand, and I was like, I'm doing this all wrong. And so 2019, I got a mentor, kind of learned what a CRM was, learned what direct to seller marketing was, how to close, how to do sales, how to dispo. I was like, at this point, I was working with this guy, and man, I was doing everything from dispo to sales to going on appointments. Yeah, and then later that year, I left. I was like, I think I'm ready to go on my own. And then Ryan found out and was like, hey, come work for me. Kept turning him down. He's like, hey, just come meet with me. I'm like, all right, I'll meet with you. He's like, just write down what you want to make this next year. And I was like, or how much you want to spend on advertising. I wrote on a piece of paper, slid it over to him. He's like, hey, I'm going to outspend you by 3 times. He's like, just work for me. He's like, if you don't like it, you can leave.
Okay.
6 years later, I'm still here. So yeah, I've done everything from, I helped out with TC at one point. I did sales. And obviously, I'm not the best salesman. Like, I'm not, like, my personality is an altruist. So sales, like, I could do it if I had to, but it wasn't my strong point. So I got moved to Dispo. Did really well in Dispo, and then took over the CO role in 2023 and kind of been here ever since. Yeah, so I've been through it all with him.
So tell me, how did having a real estate license help you on your journey? Because I speak to a lot of investors, and they say to me, no, I don't want to do that. But for me, it gave me a great foundation. So what was your experience like?
Yeah, I was exactly saying it kind of got my feet wet. I learned, how to write an RPA, and as you know, like a realtor RPA versus the wholesale side, it's like 20 pages versus 3. So I got to really learn, and honestly negotiating, because I think negotiating with realtors is harder than negotiating with sellers.
Yeah.
Because with sellers, their kind of expectations, they want to close fast. I think even with real estate, it's like, I was negotiating over $300, and I was like, that was one of the hardest things to do. So yeah, I got my feet wet. Honestly, talking to people is one of the best things. I learned how to talk to people, like I said, writing offers, and just, breaking down deals. Analyzing deals is the big thing, how to run comps and getting numbers exactly, especially with Vegas. zip code's very specific here. So I learned, and I got to know the market. And, for, the first full year as a realtor, I was just submitting blind offers, 30, 40 a week. And it's just, right? Like, so I was just writing offers within 5 minutes by the end of it. So like I said, it just laid the foundation of not only market knowledge, but of just, just being a people person. Because, you have, I mean, talking to people is the big thing here. That's what I tell my team all the time. Like, I hate texting. So it's like, I'm like, just get on the phone, have a conversation. It's so funny. Like, the girl that runs Dispo for me right now is a killer. But she's like, oh, she gets annoyed with me because like, oh, the buyers still call you. I'm like, because I built a relationship. It's been 3 years. I was like, they still call me, probably thinking they're getting a better deal. Now I just push them away. I'm like, deal with Kayla. She's the point of contact now. But yeah, going back to what you said is that I think, like you said, laying the foundation is kind of really what I got. And like, I hated being a realtor. It was the worst job I've ever had. I tell people that all the time, but it really got me learning it got me my feet wet. And like I said, how to talk to people, how to write offers and just analyze deals was the big thing for me. Cause I didn't really have, at that time, there was no mentor. Yeah. It was just like, here's the fire, figure it out, I guess. There's definitely a learning curve. Like, it took me 9 months to get my first deal. Wow. But after that, the snowball kind of effect, and like the follow-up and stuff started to come back. So it kind of just snowballed from there.
Wow. So talk to me about mindset. So you've had a very, very comprehensive kind of career building up to where you are right now. And most realtors, 90% of realtors fail within the first year. So that means that you had to have not just a strong mindset as a realtor, then you went into the investment side of the business that most realtors don't even want to get into. Talk to us about your mindset and what really kind of drove you to be moving in that direction.
Yeah, so my background before real estate, I worked in a nightclub, like nightlife industry, and it's like, I was like, you're going from a 9 to 5 to basically being your own boss and running a quote unquote business. So I was like, man, I don't have to clock in anymore. I don't have to be clean shaven. I don't have to show my work cards. I don't have to do all this BS or sign in and sign out, work till, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. I was like, this is great. But, but going back to mindset, I just, like I said, I think the problem is 90% of people don't make it because it's hard. It's not easy. Instagram and all this stuff and like these gurus show you like, oh, it seems so easy. But you and I both know that it's far from that. Yeah. And like I said, like back to what I said before, like 9 months ago, your first deal is brutal. Yeah. Thank God I'm still working. I was doing it part-time at the time. So I had a little financial cushion because I was still working the nightclub. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. I tell people all the time, sales it's brutal. And if you can't stay focused, get in a routine. To me, routine's a big thing for me. Even now, it's like, I'm the COO. I'm still usually the first person here just because my mindset's like, all right, 8:15, I'm in the office. I have a coffee. I read my emails from the day before. I look at inventory every morning. I look at contacts and the new leads that came in to make sure the cities are right. So I just have a routine, and I just stick to that because the minute I get off the routine, I'm out of whack. Then I'm stressed, and I'm like, I forgot something. I didn't do something. But yeah, for anyone new to it or anybody going through it, it's like just stick to it. It's going to work out. As long as consistency to me is the big thing because, we know people, it's like, oh, I submitted 3 offers. I didn't get accepted. It's like 3 offers. It's like, yeah, you're not gonna get anything. Yeah. But yeah, it's like as long as like the mindset for me is just like routine and mindset are big to me because like you just stick to it, and the minute you get out of whack is then stuff just gets off the rails.
So what do you do for personal development to keep your skills up to a certain level? Because I'm sure a lot of things that you're doing, you build your reps from hands-on. But what do you do for personal development?
Yeah, I started, so a big thing to me, so I did 75 hard like 2 years ago, and I never really did quote unquote personal development. I was just in the fire every day here, so you're getting your reps, but like reading to me, like any kind of book, you just get your mindset, regardless of not watching TV at night or getting up in the morning, like going back to the routine is just go to the gym. That's been the biggest thing for me too, is the gym. It just gets me focused and gets me on the right track to start the day off right. But as far as like as far as personal development, I mean, I'm in the fire here every day, so I'm kind of around, I'm around Ryan quite a bit, Javi, guys like that, and Brian, and they kind of just, that stuff motivates me seeing that. Because, like, I was here when we first started. We were in an office that was like 400 square feet. There were 6 of us, and grown to now 2 offices, podcast studios, guys in and out of the office all day. So it's like, I think it's the environment, too, that we're in here. It's nice.
So why real estate? So you said you were from the nightlife business, entertainment. What kind of attracted you to real estate?
So my dad had quite a bit of, he had a pretty big like rental portfolio in Scottsdale. Okay. And me being naive, I was like, all right, I'm going to get my real estate license. Okay. I'm going to sell them all for him. And that obviously didn't happen. So he's kind of willing to introduce me to him. He's like, he always said growing up, he's like, you got to buy land. He's like, dirt. He's like, just buy dirt. Like, that's all you got to worry about is dirt. It's going to appreciate. It's a hard asset. It's never going to depreciate, basically. So he's like, got to buy dirt. And he always, in my head, I'm like, all right, dirt. But I'm like, it wasn't like the cool thing. Like working in the nightclub was cool, you know.
Yeah,
As I get older now, it's like, man, I wish I could buy houses for 20, 30 grand or 300 grand now. But yeah, yeah, exactly.
So they always say God isn't making any more dirt.
Right.
You can't make you can't go wrong with that. So I want to talk to you about deals because like you're really good at underwriting deals. That's a skill set and a focus within itself because I think that when you're getting to deal structure, your personality has a lot to do with it. So for me, when I'm underwriting deals, I'm very conservative on my way in. I want to make my money on my way in. Worst case scenario, where other guys take uncertain risk. On my way out with my ARV, I may be a little bit a little bit creative there. But talk to me really about how you got good at analyzing deals and stuff.
Yeah, it was just going back to reps. And so I think Dispo helped a lot because I knew right away, like, all right, the ARV and all that stuff, like what we've seen the market shift. To me now, I kind of look at versus what I used to look at is instead of like, okay, what's the ARV? I'm like, what is someone willing to pay for this house? You know, as far as the wholesale side, but even on the flipping side, we kind of look at, for me now, like I'm, like you said, super conservative because the market shift in 2022, we kind of got caught with our pants down, pressing ARVs, you know, stuff going over budget. But now it's like, I look at a lot of as-is values now. Okay. And then, yeah, as far as the flip, we know like a pool adds 20, 30K in Vegas, full rehab, depending on what the price point is, 20, 30, 40, 50K. Mm-hmm. So I don't press ARVs at all anymore. I just go like back in the day, I'd be like, all right, this one sold for 470. I know if it's hard, I'm going to press it at 500. There's no more of that. If anything, like just for example, we listed a flip 2 days ago, and I know like 399 is a good value. Someone might pay that, but I listed at 389 because I think realistically that's where someone's going to come in at anyway. So why bypass trying to go high to shoot for the moon when I know here's a solid number. I don't want it to sit. I'd rather, I'm not really taking a 10K haircut because I know it's going to sell for anyways. I'd rather not even press it because it's not worth it. Yep. Especially with agents are asking for 10, 15K in closing costs on every deal now. They kind of have the upper hand. So pressing those ARVs is non-existent anymore, especially what would happen. But yeah, and I think, like I said, going back to Dispo and analyzing deals, like it kind of is a skill set. And I've just had so many reps. Like I still I've got 4 ISAs right now, 3 interns, and I still look at almost every deal for just a second opinion. I give them free go, but like if they need help and they get stuck, I'm like, hey, this is what I see. Like I said, yeah, I just try not to press anything anymore if I don't have to.
So talk to me about like COVID. What was it like for you during COVID? And then also when the market shifts. So talk about last year when the market shifts and stuff. What is that like in the moment and how do you make good decisions? Because I always say that if you can come through a cycle, you become a better investor.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you?
Yeah, COVID was pure chaos for us. So like it was crazy because like I said, in my mindset, I was going to go on my own. So I started with Ryan in December of 2019. So COVID, basically March of that year, I just gotten engaged and it was like, all right, we're going to go super hardcore. We're spending, at that time it was a lot of money, $20,000 on TV. We're going all in. And Ryan had just joined Collective Genius. We were kind of changing everything. I got switched to Dispo and then boom, market kind of stopped. So we're like, all right, what do we do? It's kind of like so much uncertainty. We were all working from home. We were having Zoom calls from home every 2 hours to make sure everyone was working. Make sure everyone's still held accountable. And then Ryan, thank God for him, was like one of the only guys in Vegas that wasn't scared. He's like, hey, we'll still buy. Tell everyone this is what we're doing. And my thing with Dispo, I was still calling buyers as much as I could to talk to them, see what they thought, if they were still buying, what their buy box was. And so we kind of just never let off the gas. And it kind of worked out because, 3 months later, kind of everything didn't go back to normal. But it was good for us because we had these houses that were coming back to market. Interest rates were super low at that point. So the affordability was like through the roof. And to your second question, what was it? I'm sorry, spaced.
Really, like going through those reps. What did you learn from that market condition, and how does it help you make decisions now?
Yeah, so in 2022, so in Vegas, like quarter 20, I'm sure you guys saw it too. Like March was peak market for us. Like we did our best month ever. We did like 1.1 million in revenue that month, and like in your mind, like this is gonna last forever. And then kind of May, stuff kind of started going like this. And we were like, all right, this is weird. And we just kind of flipped like, all right, we can't buy houses anymore. Let's just try to wholesale everything we can. And then like, even with that, it was super tough. So then come, full circle in 2023, I was like, hey, we kind of got to switch from we were like 90% flip, 10% wholesale. I was like, we got to go flip it backwards. We got to be 90% wholesale, 10% flip. And it's been better for us too, because the last few months, like we don't have to buy as many deals. We can be more selective.
Yep.
And, it was kind of nice too. I don't know if you guys saw, a lot of guys got washed out with 2022. So with the lower wholesalers, like the guys who JV deals. So it's kind of nice that we can kind of pick and choose now, and like it's more selective. Even selling deals now, like we're getting even this year has been crazy. Like it was kind of a roller coaster 2023 and 2024, but this year it's like our fees are almost, we ended last year at an average wholesale fee of like, I think it was probably 22 or 23. Like right now we're sitting close to 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it's like, because there's not that, deals are scarce out here. It's so competitive in the market that it's kind of nice for us. We have a decent marketing budget, we have a bigger team. It's nice that we can, lock up those deals and have, get more bats.
So do you think like a lot of people got like taken out of the market that creates more opportunities, or do you see like a lot of people coming back in, or what are you seeing at the moment?
Yeah, I think, like I said, if you were just your average Joe wholesaler in 2021, like you were going to make money because like you could daisy chain a couple of deals, have 3 or 4 assignments on the deals, someone make 3, 4, 5K, which is good. But now with the market shifting and less competition, you have to be very good at marketing. And a lot of people aren't good at marketing. It's nice that we have Ryan, and he does very well at what he does. So if you're not good at marketing and you don't have a budget, there's not really much you can do, because like the free services or the lower budget stuff like texting and cold calling is kind of obsolete. Even PPC, I mean, our cost per leader now is $800 a lead. So and your average Joe wholesaler can afford that.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
And that's where, and that's where I'm seeing things where like the guys that can spend that money or using the best tech, there is not going to be any space there for the average guy. So I think the guys that don't learn how to pivot, because the old way of doing things in real estate, I don't think that's going to work moving forward, especially with AI and all the other tools as well. So this is a time where, like, if anyone's trying to get involved in real estate right now, while you can, you need to jump in, because if you don't, you're going to get crushed by the bigger guys, and the barrier to entry is going to be a way, way higher. So talk to me about like leading people. So you got a team, and I've seen in the past like how you consolidated your team and still do volume. For most people, they think that's impossible. So talk to us about how you've been able to do that. Yeah,
I mean, our team, it's crazy. Even like I think like I talked around about it quite a bit. It's funny because even like the heyday, we ran with 2 sales guys, 1 appointment guy, and a dispo. And we were doing, I think our average month were like $400,000 a month with a lean team. So like getting bigger is not always better, because like I even talked to like, it's funny, my wife does hair, is kind of off topic, the same thing. It's like, when you're smaller, you're kind of like this. Everything's going on the up and up. Your budget, overhead's pretty low, but then when you start adding more TCs, more marketing budget, this starts to go like this. That's not always better. And trying to get through this phase to get back up is tough, and it's a challenge, and it takes time. So we're kind of doing that now, because we're trying to rescale with the nationwide stuff. So it's kind of like we got more people in the office, overhead's a little bit higher. So we're still back on the up and up, but you're starting to feel like the little teetering of going back down, trying to get everyone on the same page, training, and trying to get the deal volume back up.
So I've never really seen many house flippers pivot, because a lot of it is ego sometimes and skill set. And not only that you've pivoted, you've even decided, you know what, we're going to kind of smash the market and go nationwide. So tell me how that conversation happened.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a fun one. So me and Ryan, we didn't really butt heads, but there was a while of like, hey man, I was like, because we went, like I said, 2022, we got, we had we were holding like almost $24 million in hard money loans out, trying to get bad deals off the books, trying to get marketing dialed back in, trying to just navigate through the roller coaster that the market was in 2023. And so, we kind of, like I said, we went basically almost 100% wholesale, got bad deals off the books, got the team bought back in, and I was like, all right, we're back on the up and up. And Ryan's like, all right, I got this new idea. And I'm like, dude, no. I'm like, we just got back to being good. Like, everyone's on the up and up, and everyone's making money again. He's like, no. He's like, I'm telling you, like, nationwide is the move. And I'm just like, he's like, we're switching CRMs. I'm like, dude, I was like, no, I kept telling him, I pushed back for 2 months. I go, no, I'm not doing it. I go, nope, I'm not doing it. I was like, this is our 3rd CRM. I just built the last 2. I was like, I'm not doing this again. He's like,
that's a problem.
Then finally in January, he's like, I'm overriding you. He's like, this is what we're doing. So he's like, I was like, are you sure? I was like, just so you know. I was like, this is what you want to do, because I was like, we're basically starting over. I was like, we're changing the marketing completely. We went from running TV commercials to doing PPC, and now he's like, all right, we're cutting TV, we're cutting PPC. He's like, Facebook's the move. Cost per lead is going to be super low. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, well, I was like, I get the cost per lead thing, I know, but I was like, would you rather have a $50 lead that makes zero or an $800 lead that makes 25,000?
Okay.
I'm taking the second,
Okay. Okay.
and that was my argument.
Okay.
And, it took a while, but I was like, he was right in the end. So
Okay.
like, it's just, that pushback of like visionary and me being in the business. Like I was like, I get what you're trying to do. I see the vision, but I was like, dude, I'm in it. So I gotta deal with everyone that changes.
Yeah.
The team doing a complete 360, but it's never like he doesn't make decisions for the worse. It's always for the better. So
What you just told me there just gave me anxiety. Like, you, not only that you pulled the rug from under my legs, you took my knees out, you took my CRM, you cut my budget.
Yeah, it was.
That's a hard sell. Like that, my anxiety would be going crazy right there.
Oh, it was. It was. There was a month. There was a stretch between like last year from like January to May where I was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Are you sure this is gonna work?" Like I was like, "I'm in it," but I was like, I'm looking at numbers every day because I'm super analytical. So I'm checking KPIs every day. I'm checking cost per lead. I'm checking conversions. I was like, it's not really looking that good. I was like, are you sure you want to keep pushing? He's like, yeah, this is what we're doing, and like it all worked out. So,
So talk about Nationwide, because I think it's more to do with my ideals, where I'm thinking you need to master what's in front of you before you can go further. And then for the last probably year, I've been watching the Nationwide. So I've sat on the fence and watched and watched and watched. And now I'm saying to myself, it makes more sense. Why did I do this before? And I just keep on questioning myself. Now that we're locking up deals and stuff, and it's a lot more easier than my own market, advertising spend is cheaper. Like, how do you see this kind of playing out moving forward?
yeah. So for Nationwide, obviously, we get so many more at bats, but you're just gonna have to live with the fact that you're probably gonna have a 50% fallout rate nationwide. It is what it is, and that was a hard pill for us to swallow because I think in Vegas we had like a 90% conversion rate. It was like because we knew our numbers. It took in the bottleneck of like getting these smaller towns, having boots on the ground, coordinating photos, person hasn't seen the house in 5 years. They tell us like, hey, it's in perfect condition. Get a contract. We spend money on affidavits, and then we get to the house and get photos. Like it looks like a bomb went off. So it's like, having boots on the ground and navigating that has kind of been, a little bit of a bottleneck. And Dispo too. Dispo's a little bit tougher because like with us for Vegas at least, if something goes wrong, I can record a contract. I can get the lawyers involved. or if a seller has an issue, we can go to the house and kind of figure out what's going on. Nationwide, if an issue goes south, it's like my hands are kind of tied. I can't do anything. So that's a little bit of bottleneck for us too. But I mean, my team does a really good job of setting the stage with the sellers. Like, hey, doing seller's remorse. You can't go around us. You're signing a legally binding contract. We kind of people are going to be in the house. Are you good with that? And so we do a very good job of setting the stage. So I think Nationwide, setting the stage with the seller and setting expectations has been the biggest thing for us.
So my question to you: how do you keep salespeople motivated?
Yes.
And how do you attract the best talent? Because all of you guys are killers.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
I think Ryan plays a pretty big role in it for one because he's pretty good at recruiting from social media and stuff like that. But keeping them motivated too, because we try to do fun stuff. We have weekly bonuses. So our thing right now is like it's either we get 6 contracts a week or we have $50K in closed revenue. We spin a wheel. Wheel has cash items on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. So we have cash items that we pay out at the end of the month, and then we do tier structures too with bonus for the Nationwide because obviously the deals we've seen versus Vegas, our average profit's probably 12 to 15,000. So commission's a little bit lower. So what we do, we kind of do like a tiered commission now. So if you close $20K in revenue, you get 15%. If you do $40K, you get, I think it's 20. And then if you do $60K or more, I think it's 25 or 30. So we do kind of a tiered structure for the Nationwide stuff because it's a more of a grind.
Yeah. No, but that's good. That's very good. I didn't even think about that because it creates not just the incentive, but there's some fun around it.
Yeah.
And it makes you more competitive as well. It's fair. So that's fantastic. So I want to say thank you very much for giving us the time today.
Yeah, of course.
And like I said, keep up the good work. And I always find the guy in the back room that's cranking things out because that's the guy that makes this all work. So I knew I had to find the guy. When I found him, I'm like, he's the guy.
Yeah, it's so funny because I always laugh because Ryan tries to get me to do not podcasts, but trying to speak on stage. I'm like, dude, I'm not that guy. I was like, I'd rather just hide in the shadows, make sure everything works the right way, and just kind of not get bombarded by everyone.
No, but you're the one that keeps the lights on and keeps us winning. So I want to say thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Darrell. Thanks for having me.
Seeing someone that's taken a journey from being a real estate agent, having the mindset to be able to not only just invest, build an operation, support operations, still be an entrepreneur as an investor, and keep on pushing in regards to adverse situations. So I just wanted to share that with you. It was a pleasure today. Stay tuned in.